What kind of rage does it take to burn, dismember, and discard another human being like trash? What kind of belief system convinces a man that taking a life is justified in the eyes of God? On the night of November 13, 2009, Jorge Steven López Mercado, a 19-year-old fashion student, a son, a friend, and a fear of the LGBTQ+ community, vanished. Days later, his remains were discovered in a gruesome state, his body unrecognizable. His killer, Juan Antonio Martínez Matos, claimed he had no choice. He claimed he was deceived. He claimed his faith left him no other option. Was this truly a moment of uncontrollable rage? Or was it a calculated execution fueled by hate, fear, and religious extremism? Welcome to True Crime Acts, where we look into the hidden truths behind some of the most chilling real-life events. Our mission is to uncover the stories that shock, educate, and spark change, reminding us that behind every headline is a victim, a family, and a ripple effect felt by an entire community. If you find this journey as important as we do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to ensure you never miss another gripping exploration into the depths of human behavior. Jorge Steven López Mercado was not just another name. He was a son, a friend, a student, and a fighter. He had dreams of making it big in the fashion industry. Those who knew him described him as kind, creative, and unapologetically himself. But being unapologetically yourself in a world that still fears difference can come at a price. Jorge was openly gay in a society where acceptance and intolerance clashed daily. He was proud, confident, and full of love, but not everyone saw him that way. Not everyone believed he had a right to exist as he was. And one night, that tension exploded into something horrific. A chance encounter turned into something much darker. One man, one night, one act of violence so brutal it sent shockwaves through Puerto Rico and beyond. Was Jorge's murder truly a crime of passion and panic, as his killer claimed? Or was this a premeditated act of hate, fueled by deep-seated religious and societal beliefs? Jorge Steven wasn't just a statistic. He was a young man with ambitions, a person with a heart full of love, a human being who deserved to grow old, to experience love, to chase his dreams. He was someone who wanted to make a difference, but confidence can be dangerous in a world that refuses to accept those who refuse to hide. Jorge lived in a place where the battle for LGBTQ+ rights was still being fought every day. He was part of a generation that refused to live in fear, but for some, his existence was an act of defiance. And one night, someone decided that defiance was unforgivable. It started as an ordinary night. Jorge was last seen in Caguas, Puerto Rico, a bustling city where life never seemed to slow down. He was known to frequent areas where LGBTQ+ individuals gathered, places where he felt safe, where he could be himself without fear. And then he met Juan Antonio Martínez Matos. What happened next? According to Martínez Matos, he didn't know Jorge was gay. According to Martínez Matos, the moment he realized, he snapped. But was that the truth? Or was this murder planned from the start? 3 days later, a grim discovery was made in Cayey, Puerto Rico. A burned, dismembered body. The body was beyond recognition. At first, authorities didn't even know who the victim was. But soon, they pieced it together. It was Jorge Steven, and the brutality of his murder was beyond anything they had seen before. But the question remained, who would do this and why? Juan Antonio Martínez Matos didn't just confess, he gave details that made the world recoil in horror. He claimed he had no idea Jorge was gay when he picked him up. And when he found out, he said he lost control. He beat Jorge mercilessly, stabbed him multiple times, then set his body on fire and dumped it in a remote area. But here's the thing. Was this really just a moment of blind rage? Or was it a targeted hate crime disguised as a crime of passion? Martínez Matos claimed he acted on instinct, but his past told a different story. Was this truly a reaction of shock? Or was it a planned execution from the start? Martínez Matos wanted people to believe his actions were spontaneous, that his rage erupted the moment he discovered Jorge was gay. But the evidence? It told a different story. The injuries Jorge suffered were excessive. He wasn't just killed in a moment of anger. He was beaten, stabbed, burned, mutilated, dismembered. Is this what panic looks like? Or is this what pure hatred looks like? The prosecution argued that Martínez Matos knew exactly what he was doing, and even worse, he had done it before. This wasn't his first act of violence. Martínez Matos had a past riddled with abuse, violent outbursts, and a disturbing pattern of targeting vulnerable people. So why should anyone believe this was just an accident? This wasn't a crime of passion, it was an execution. While the prosecution painted Martínez Matos as a cold-blooded killer, the defense had a different strategy. They argued that he had been tricked, deceived, humiliated, that Jorge had provoked him. It was a classic defense used in hate crimes against LGBTQ+ victims. They claimed Martínez Matos felt morally violated when he realized Jorge was gay. They claimed his religious beliefs were the foundation for his reaction. Was the defense really arguing that religion justified murder? The gay panic defense had been used before in similar cases, and sometimes it worked. Would history repeat itself? Would the justice system once again excuse violence against an LGBTQ+ person? Puerto Rico was shaken to its core. LGBT activists, politicians, and citizens refused to stay silent. This wasn't just about Jorge anymore. This was about every LGBTQ+ person who had ever been attacked, ridiculed, or murdered simply for existing. Would Jorge's case become just another forgotten tragedy? Or would it finally force the system to change? This wasn't just a crime, it was a movement. After months of trial, after countless debates, after tears, rage, and national attention, the moment had arrived. Would Martínez Matos face true justice? 99 years, no parole, but was it enough? Did this trial truly set a precedent for LGBTQ+ rights? Or was it just another case in a long history of violence against LGBTQ+ people that the world would soon forget? Jorge should still be here. He should have grown up, chased his dreams, and lived a full life. But instead, his story ends in tragedy. And his murderer, he sits in prison, claiming he acted in the name of God. So we ask you, what now? Do we move on, pretend this was just one isolated crime? Or do we finally start asking why LGBTQ+ people are still being targeted, still being attacked, still being killed? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Jorge should still be here. He should be living his dreams, celebrating his milestones, experiencing love, and growing old. But instead, his life was stolen. All because someone believed that his existence was a threat to their beliefs. A 99-year sentence. But is that true justice? Because Jorge wasn't the first, and if we don't change the conversation, if we don't challenge the hatred, if we don't fight back, he won't be the last. How many more lives will be cut short? How many more people will be murdered for simply existing? This case isn't just about Jorge. It's about who we are as a society. It's about the dangerous mix of hate, fear, and radical belief systems that continue to justify violence. So we ask you, was justice truly served? Or was this just another chapter in a never-ending cycle of violence against the LGBTQ+ community? Don't let Jorge's story be forgotten. If this case moved you, angered you, or made you think, don't let the conversation end here. Like, share, subscribe. See you in the next episode.